Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Industry Executive Summary. This is Casey, and as usual, the dashing Dave Veer. Veer, sorry.
You got it. That might be it. That might
God
be
damn
it
it.
first. No, I thought. Wait, did you not get it? You almost got it.
I made a mistake, and then I got it, obviously. And the reason for that is I was thinking about Manu. Manu's not with us today, and I was like, okay,
he's still alive. It's fun.
He's alive. He's having fun somewhere. And I was thinking, like, how do I bring him in or mention him as in, like, not being here? And I had a nickname for him. Today, he was the Explorer. But obviously, he's not here with us today.
Well, the exploration became too involved, and he was unable to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
But how are you, man? How
I'm good. Things are going well out here. I was just on recommendation from a friend playing a little bit of Journey to the Savage Planet. Bit of an older one, but it's a cool game. I like that. It's a bit older and has some things that are trendy these days. I'll stop doing that. It's got elements of survival games. Like you can see how it could become a survival game or become a roguelike or something like that. It has all these things that sort of became trendy a little bit after it was released. I'm interested by it.
Is this how old is this game?
That's a good question. Let's see.
It does look very familiar to that other game, the one with the Rick and Morty characters. Tycoon.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's 2020, so it's not as old as I thought it was.
Oh wow! Is that a coincidence that these two games came out around the same time-ish?
Yeah, well, it was in the air. People wanted this kind of thing. For me, there's an episode of Ren and Stimpy where they go exploring alien planets that I'm pretty sure that this game is basically just an adaptation of that.
It looks pretty fun. I mean, I assume it's very comedic.
Yes, it's got a comedic bent to it.
Well, what's the other one called then? Can you remind me? The
High on Life.
High on Life.
Yeah, and then they made an expansion, High on Knife.
That's interesting. I'm assuming the guns or the equipment has a lot more, I guess, impact. But tell me, I mean, did you play High on Life?
No, I did not.
I was very interested in getting your take on that game.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't tried. I know that comedy in games is always real tough, and it's always interesting when you find a comedic game that people are like behind. So I should check it out for that reason.
You should check it out. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun, like in the first, let's say, I don't know, 10, 15 hours ish. But at one point, it gets a bit too repetitive. But also, it's one of those things where, okay, guys, I mean, yes, the joke has probably overstayed its welcome.
That's the biggest reason I think why comedy's hard in games is they're long. It's very difficult to keep that up for so long. That's why dramas tend to be an hour on TV and comedies tend to be half an hour or 21 minutes, whatever.
Speaking of game lengths, I would love to get your take before we jump into the news. Do you feel like I mean, we are older now, obviously, but do you feel like games are too long? Or is it our attention span, our age, or is it like, what is it that, like, for me at least, I feel like I don't have the energy for games that are overstaying their welcome.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't. I mean, I think our age definitely has something to do with it, but it's not like the kids are super into endless exploration games either. With younger generations, you see a lot more like session-based stuff. And I think it's just kind of snowballing expectations, right? As soon as people started showing off how big their games were, people started valuing those numbers, and people started discussing those numbers even before release. And people just kind of got ahead of themselves. But I think we're going to see that pull back just because, like, super expensive to make games like that. And if you don't have to, that's easier.
Yeah, because I feel like the value. What is the value? One of my favorite games of all time, Persona 5. I never got to finish that game.
Yeah. Those I see. Actually, that's a blind spot for me. Persona 4 is the one I did, but like, man, I remember I booted up Persona 4 at the beginning of like a cross country flight, and it was only by the time I was landing that the game was like, all right, we're kind of beginning now.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
But I mean, these games, Persona 3 and then 4, I think those two are roughly-ish 60 hours, around that mark, which is fine-ish for an RPG, obviously. But like, Persona 5 was up on the, plus 100 hours. I'll tell you more about Elden Ring, by the way.
Always more about Elden Ring.
God damn it, I want to show you. Let me just upload these pictures. We had a birthday party for my kids.
Elden Ring birthday party for kids. Excellent, excellent.
Yes, that's what the rave is all about these days.
Yeah, exactly. All the 6-year-olds.
That's where they hang out. I mean, fuck Roblox, fuck Fortnite.
Yeah,
Elden Ring.
Those Elden Ring kids, millennials and their Elden Ring kids.
I'm gonna show you some pictures. Let me just get those up on my screen. So what I wanted to mention on Elden Ring as well is that obviously I got back to it. I love it. I'm 125 hours in, and now it's like, oh god, come on, guys, I got. So partially this is all my own fault because I'm a completionist type person. I want to get everything, like all the weapons in the game. Every time I get a weapon, even though I don't use it, I won't sell it. I'll keep it in my inventory. It's like one of those.
It's like Pokemon.
In a way, absolutely. So it's almost my own, I guess, curse of like the collector thingy. But I bought the DLC as well. Have yet to finish the main game. I opened the DLC. I run around for like a couple minutes. And I was like, holy shit! Come on, guys! Like more of this. I was like, I don't have time for this. But I will. It's absolutely on the list to finish that game. It has to be.
Yeah, it's the ending's cool. I cheesed the last boss, if I recall correctly, because I did not feel like fighting him. Well, the last boss is a 2-stage. I won't give away too much.
Please, thank you. Yeah. I have yet to reach Melania. Is that the character with the red?
Yeah. She's optional.
Oh, really?
Of course, as a completionist, that doesn't matter. She's not optional for you. But yeah, she's brutal.
I kind of missed that completely. Yeah. Okay, I got the pictures. Let me just do some magic on this side. I have to extract stuff, and you know how it works. Like trying to send photos from your phone. Why can't it be easier to get it up on your computer? I have no idea. But
it's all magic anyways, so
yes. Let me see if this works. Give me a second here. Share. And again, this is like perfect examples of parenting, right? Perfect parenting.
That's awesome. So into this. Yeah.
Look at that.
That's great. Yeah.
Here's a really cool detail that I wanted. You look at the icing here.
Yeah.
It's like cool. Almost like dragon scale thing.
Yeah.
So really cool stuff. Really amazing like artists who put this together for us. We had some candles, of course, on top of it later, but I don't have those pictures because the kids were just too excited to blow the candles.
That's awesome. You're doing good work. Congratulations on doing good work.
I should get a parenting certificate or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Dave.
Get you a medal. Yes, that's me.
Please.
All right.
Let's jump into it.
Let's talk about. I'm going to resist the urge to take the cap off this pen. It's going to be a battle of wills the entire time.
Let's keep it in.
Yeah.
Really disappointed in Manu for not having this as like the number one highlight. So I'll have to pull it up myself.
All right, that's good.
But the number one highlight for me, at least, and maybe for you as well, which is Nintendo talked about Switch 2, and then they said that backwards compatibility with Switch 1 games are a thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing. Which it's funny because that constitutes a headline because we had they haven't said anything about Switch 2, but like at this point, that's a given, right? With consoles, that if it was not backwards compatible, it would be dead on arrival.
Parts of me before this news showed up, parts of me is like, okay, hey, should I? Because I have a small, not a huge collection of Switch games. So like, should I get rid of this stuff? But now, I guess I don't have to get rid of this stuff. I'll keep it for life, and the Switch 2 will probably.
Though, as it says here, we're not sure if the cartridges themselves will work. Though maybe they'll have a system where you can get a license based off of your cartridge. I only have like 2 Switch cartridges that were sent to me as review copies. I'm download only on that thing.
Yeah.
So I wonder what the breakdown of that is, because like I know a lot of parents that like buy them for their family or for their kids specifically, and like the parents like. My daughter's friends' parents like don't even know that you can download games. I was like, you should buy this game, and they were like, oh, I went to the store and I didn't see it. I'm like, oh, okay. Was the store a physical store? And you just kind of forget, that other people are coming at this from a very different perspective.
I hope what you just said is like major data for Nintendo in their research.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, we gotta have a fucking, we gotta have cartridges.
Yeah.
So okay. Anyways. I'm looking forward to it, but it seems also, by the way, if we're going to speculate a bit, obviously if you're doing Switch 2, so in my mind, Switch 2 is basically Switch 1 beefed up. Okay. And you have to have joysticks, or the Joy-Cons, I guess, the detachable Joy-Cons, if you're going to play like any Mario Party games, if you're going to play any like, multiplayer type games, because obviously these support multiplayer, local multiplayer, so to say. Any other and also I have a feeling that there's going to be two tiers. And to your point, maybe there is one tier of console that doesn't have the cartridge thing, and the other one has. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, generally speaking, on what we should expect.
I mean, that's kind of sort of my thoughts are on the same line of view. I think it's going to look a lot like the Switch. It's going to be able to run the same games better. I'm curious to see if there's exclusives coming out for it. If I was making those decisions, I would not do that. Because if I'm gonna, the exclusives have to be big deals, right? And so if I'm gonna sell a new Mario game, I want to sell it to a lot of people, and that's going to be an issue. So I would suspect that they're going to play the same games. They're just going to make them look nicer, and maybe have some other little hardware bells and whistles with regards to kind of like make the controllers feel nicer, how they move on and off. The kickstand has long been a point of contention, maybe a slightly sturdier thing on that. I mean, the new ones do have the sturdier kickstand, but still, that's probably an area to work on. They'll definitely have the OLED. That is, of course, in the current Switches. So yeah, I think it'll be a tight line, because I think they're going to sell us on power a little bit. That's never really Nintendo's thing. So I'll be curious.
So 4K, 60 FPS.
I guess, yeah. Nintendo's not supposed to care about that kind of thing, but I would suspect that it can run something like Mario Kart at 4K 60 FPS, and maybe there will be exclusive ports. I know they've still got this whole cloud streaming system that they use for things like Hitman. We could see more of that and more work with that. I don't think we'll say like big first-party exclusives. Maybe it'll be easier to port onto, and maybe we'll see some exclusive ports of things that could not have run on the original Switch. But I don't know.
By the way, it just hit me. Speaking of cartridges and all that stuff. A solution could be like, the actual handheld device doesn't have a cartridge input, and then the base. Well, that's terrible. Forget it. That's terrible.
I did not see how that would work, but it's cool. Yeah. That's all right.
Or a dongle. Maybe a dongle.
I think we need many dongle.
But okay, so just to go back one step, the quality, generally speaking, on Switch is terrible in my opinion.
What do you mean?
Like, the Joy-Cons break all the time. The rubber comes off. Like, it's just terrible build quality. The plastic doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
So that's on top of the list for me, at least. I hope that they can actually.
And I think that for people like us, that'll be a big selling point. Definitely. We're not buying it, regardless, obviously, because I'm an idiot. But
that's the way things go sometimes. Okay, so that is Nintendo and Switch 2. It does seem like maybe also the name Switch 2 they might keep Switch 2. It's just
I don't see. I mean, this Switch has really good name recognition at this point. I wouldn't mess with that.
I agree with you. Okay, let's move over to the real highlights.
The Manu, as decreed, as anointed by Manu,
by the Inquisitor himself.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Let's move over to this. The second item, I'll actually feature it as the first item, which is Alan Wake 2 still hasn't quite made its money back, according to Remedy's latest financials. Can you remind me, was Alan Wake 2 published by Remedy or by Microsoft? Or do you know what the deal was?
That's a good question. I think Epic might have been involved. Let's see. I know it was very well received. I did not play it.
While you do that, I'll just say, so the quote by the CEO
is Epic. Yeah.
It's Epic, okay.
Yeah.
But the quote by the CEO is that Alan Wake 2 has now recouped most of its development and marketing expenses. So it's just cash in the bank from here, right?
Yeah, exactly. That word "most" is doing some heavy lifting there, right? Like, you mean 99%, you mean 80%. Those are real different. But we wish them all the best. As far as I gather, they made a super cool game, and I love Control. I didn't have time for this one, but and not a lot of people making sort of nice, cool, tight single player games like this. So we hope that they can keep doing it.
Trying to find out how much Alan Wake 2 costed. I think there was a report here, 70 million.
70.
70.
Yeah, so and then I don't know that
another one says 50 million.
And then that much again for marketing. So yes.
So we're hovering around the 100 million mark.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of money for a game in this. I mean, if you're not hitting the Call of Duty type of level of sales, then that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're saying. Games are expensive to make these days, and it changes what your calculus. So it's difficult.
Okay, I'll move over to the next item on the highlights then. And this one is actually confusing me because I wish we had Manu here. It's an esports specific.
We're just going to spend this entire podcast pining for Manu.
We're trying to just understand, like we're trying to break down Manu's thought process.
Yeah.
But Faker, which is an esports player,
sure,
leads South Korean team T1 to League of Legends world title. I do believe, if I remember correctly, when I was dabbling in the esports world, Faker is a pretty famous, pretty big name in that world. At least to my knowledge, I feel like he's an older player, but somebody will have to... 28 years old. Yes, he's super old.
Yeah, so, he's ancient.
So I guess the story here is that older players can make it still in esports. I don't know. What's your takeaway?
So what I think happened here was that Faker led esports giant South Korean T1 to victory in the League of Legends final. That's about the information I'm working with.
Thank you so much, Dave, for the breakdown.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Let me just see here. I'm trying to understand if there's like more to it.
I don't know. Again, it's not. It's it's not like I know nothing about esports. I think you have to know something about esports in this business, but this is certainly not my area of expertise. So I mean, it's a big headline, right? You don't have to need to analyze it in order for it to be.
I'm trying to figure out why it's in the highlights. But
it's in the highlights. Oh,
yes, yeah, that's one. So here's a comment from one of the people who wrote on this story. Faker's incredible performance solidifies his legacy. T1's resilience shows the true spirit of esports excellence. So I guess it's a story of this, older player who made a comeback and made it to T1, which is very interesting.
That's cool. Good for them. Yeah.
Congratulations to Faker. Going over to the news then. Pokémon TCG Pocket off to strong start. Reportedly,
yeah, they're ripping it up. Yeah.
Is that the sleeping thing, or is this another thing?
No, this is a card game. A mobile version of the card game.
There's so many Nintendo things happening. Like
there's the sleeping. There's Alarmo, the Nintendo sleep one. There's also Pokemon Sleep.
Then there's the music app, and then there's the live, the actual TCG, and then there's the which is maybe they have to all come to what like Twitter's trying to do, where everything is in the one app.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to be working pretty well for them.
Okay, ignore me. What can we learn about this item, my friend?
I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is that Pokemon card game's a beast, right? People, not everyone thinks about it all the time, especially if they don't have kids. But it's just a beast, and it keeps on trucking. I've played a little bit of it, and I've watched some friends play. I have a friend whose kid is ranked in Europe. And it's very, very sophisticated at a high level, and can be very cool to watch. I think one thing I've seen it do well, again, limited information, but the matches I've seen it people can do weird shit very successfully. You can pull off a weird strategy that means that your opponent has all these awesome Pokemon, but you've drained you've managed to get them to burn all their energy so they can't do anything, or you can lock them up entirely with Snorlax or things like that. And it's a cool game, and kids love collecting them. It's a juggernaut, and this is just an extension of that.
Yeah, I mean, we did speak about Pokemon TCG. The actual card game is just hitting peak popularity these days with the kids, like a resurgence in many ways. But if I understand correctly, just to go back to this TCG Pocket, this is like a Marvel Snap type game.
Is it a different game? I was assuming it was the same game in a similar Magic the Gathering arena, but is it? Let's see.
No. This is not the TCG. This is another TCG. So this is like a if I understand correctly, it's like a scaled off version, like a fast.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I mean, it would make sense, right? Standard card games take a while.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's one of the reasons I've never done much Hearthstone. So if I'm on my phone, I don't got time for this.
It says here that Pokemon TCG Pocket is heavily engineered around the opening of card packs, though you can also unlock the ability to play a faster paced version of the traditional Pokemon card game too.
Okay. Oh, so it's really it's just a dopamine simulator, or not,
yes,
the dopamine is real. So that people like opening card packs, open more card packs. Okay, sure.
Okay, I'll go over to the next item on the list then. Atari. That company still
Good
exists.
old Atari.
That company still exists.
Yeah, mostly I don't. As far as I haven't actually heard anyone talked about it for a while. They just have some IP, and one of their major IP is just like the brand Atari. Like they sell those hats with the speakers on them and stuff like that.
Is Atari like a one person like sitting in a basement, like juggling IPs and doing...
Yeah, just a folder of legal rights.
Okay. So in this news item, Atari acquires Transport Tycoon IP. I was not aware of this IP. Is this an important IP, do you think? Or
I was not aware of it either. I know that Atari's got Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Okay.
So that this is another classic Tycoon that they seem to have.
Originally released in 1994 with an extended version the year after. And then released on mobile 2013. Okay, so I guess it's like... Here's a couple cents for this thing. We'll see if we can do something with it, and you'll get a small payout.
Yeah. It says there. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what Atari's ever up to? I don't know if they ever released that hardware that they were talked about forever.
I believe they did like a mini. Like you're talking about the console, like the Nintendo and the Sega one. But I think what I'm interested in understanding, like, what the hell is happening at Atari? How many employees do they have? What are they doing? What's the strategy?
Yeah, I have no idea. I met the like either he was the current president or a founder or something like that a couple of years ago. He seemed to be doing fine for himself. So
that's Nolan Bushnell, right?
No. He was the actual founder. I did not meet him. It was some other guy. He's French. So somehow. There he goes.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see if that makes it into the podcast.
Yeah. If that got cut out, that was the sound of a toddler not wanting to leave.
Okay. I'll move over to the next item on the list then. Dragon Age. I have some comments on Dragon Age that I would love to get your thoughts about. But Dragon Age: The Veilguard launch beats Jedi Survivor to make it EA's biggest ever single-player game on Steam. Wow.
Yeah, good on them.
Is this the moment when EA turns around and realizes, oh shit, the world is not just about live service games and nickel and diming your customer?
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I think Jedi Survivor did well. It's not about live service games, nickel and diming your customer, and it's not just about licenses, which EA has really pursued. I mean, obviously, this is a great little example of that theoretically, if you have two well-made, because Jedi Survivor, that's a good game. If you have two well-made single-player games, you would think that the one coming from one of the world's most popular entertainment franchises would be more successful. But that's just not how video games work, right? Dragon Age has got a bigger name in games specifically, and that has done well for it.
So here's what I'm wrestling with, because we saw, this is the third Dragon Age game. Is that correct?
No, Origins 2, Inquisition, this.
Okay, so there've been a couple. And I see here, okay, so the first release, 2009, and then 10, 11, 13, 14. So it's been 10 years, I guess, between the last Dragon Age game and the new one. And what confuses me about Dragon Age specifically, and I would love to get your take on it, is, for me, that is like, not necessarily a dead IP. It's more like, before the Veilguard, for me, like, Dragon Age was... who cares about that IP? But I'd love to hear from you, because Dragon Age obviously has a lot of success, and I'd love to understand from your viewpoint what is attributed to that success.
I mean, I think for one thing, it's just people love Dragon Age. For me, some of the older games I never really got too far into Origins, but people love Origins, And that's sort of the benefit you get from a long-running RPG is that you have a world that people become really invested in. And I think that's a big part of what has led this thing to success, because people are excited to return to that world. And clearly they executed it in such a way that has kept enough people happy, has ticked the right boxes, and now people are just excited to see what's up in Thetis.
There was some real magic at BioWare back in the day.
I've heard about the BioWare magic.
Yes, 2005-ish to 2012-ish, around that era. And I'm looking at Wikipedia for those who are listening in. I'm looking at, I'll just share. Here's what the magic was, basically. Well, apart from maybe the ending of Mass Effect 3, but here's what's interesting. 2007...
Yeah.
2010, 2012. It's like
bang, bang. Yeah.
Yes, it feels like there was this grand vision, and then like, okay, boom, 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 boom. We're just going to create these amazing systems. We're going to iterate on them, and we're going to deliver like top tier, world class experiences that you'll never ever get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And in succession as well, which is just crazy.
Yeah, 2 was a great game. Love 2.
Yes, but what I'm trying to get to is like, from your point of view, why was that possible before, and why is that not possible today? Because the reason I'm asking is the last Dragon Age 2014, the new Dragon Age 2024.
Yeah, well, I mean, BioWare obviously had a lot. They had some misses with Andromeda and with Anthem, and so the studio had a lot of turmoil through that, and that probably accounted for things being turned upside down. I know this game was rebooted a couple times. I mean, at least once. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things, right? One, sometimes shit works, right? Sometimes you're on the money, things are moving, and clearly they hit that sweet spot, and they were able to deliver on that vision. And then there's that second thing, which is that games take a lot longer to make these days. And I imagine I don't make games. I help people make games, but I imagine it must be very difficult to maintain creative momentum over the amount of time required to make a modern AAA game. And that seems like it'd be a huge challenge.
For Veilguard, do you think they were restrained in the budgeting and the manpower in that game?
I mean, I can't speak to it. I mean, you're always restrained on budgeting and manpower, right? No, unless you're Rockstar, you have restraints.
Okay. I will probably save this because I think Manu might have some insight.
Yeah, I would be curious. I'd definitely be curious.
He might have worked on it as well. Yeah. Okay, I'll move over to the next item, my friend, which is Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered fails to impress, falls behind original in concurrent player count. So, to be honest with you, I'm just when the news of Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered came out, I'm just confused over why we even need this. Like, it looks good. Original looks good. It upscales very well on PS5. Why are we even bothering with this?
Yeah, I mean, that's because sometimes remasters work, but I feel like the remasters are in their best situation when it's an old game that will obviously benefit from modern technology, or when you're just trying to sell it on a new console. So, all these PS5 remasters. And this wasn't really the thing happening. It's just too recent.
Yes.
Not. Yeah.
I mean, they could have just made it an update, really, or whatever, repackaged the original game. So here's the thing: original release, 2017 February.
Yeah.
Remaster was last year-ish.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
And I guess that's like where it's like confusing from a business point of view over why this happened.
I mean, with all those, it's just a question of how much it took them to do and how much they thought they could sell from it. And, it might still be a successful product, right? Because we just don't know how much it costs to make. And maybe they were able to do it efficiently. But you make whatever you think you can sell, basically.
Okay. I'll move over to the next item on the list. Ubisoft. We love Ubisoft in this podcast.
We do.
Ubisoft's NFT RPG has reportedly been plagued by a single player auto-winning every game. That's fun.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, we were all kind of surprised that this thing wound up like coming out. My guess is that like they have a bunch of investors telling them, saying, "Where's the NFT game?" And Ubisoft's like, "Fine, here's your NFT game. We'll release it." My guess is this went into development when making an NFT game was more of a popular thing to do, and now here we are.
You know what's what you missed last week, among other things? This same game had an item that was reselling on the secondhand market, whatever you want to call it, as an NFT for like I think £50,000 dollars, which is in a way interesting.
Did someone buy it, or were they just listing it for that?
I am unsure about that. Let's see.
Because you can list it for whatever you want.
I guess that is also a fair point to say. Champion Tactics. Let's have a look. Champion Tactics NFT. Let me see if I can find anything. This entire NFT world is interesting in its own rights. And I'm also, because I'm assuming that's, you can just take it out of the game and sell it outside the game. Here. OpenSea.io. The Warlords of Champions Tactics, Ubisoft. Okay, let me see. Some random items I'm looking at. I can actually just share my screen and maybe we can figure this out together.
Let's see.
I'm just too old for this shit. So here's some random items or characters or whatever these are. They're like...
So they're at last sale. These things, some of these things have sold.
Where can you see
.02. So, price. You know, I'm pointing. I don't know. Obviously, you can't see where I'm pointing. But it's below the icons there. So, like this Warlord 2279 last sale, 0.06 WETH.
That's ETH? Or what's WETH? That's another
ETH is Ethereum. I don't know what the W is. I'm not up on it.
Okay, so this is $58. This is not $58,000, right?
Yeah.
Let me go back and get the most expensive item here. The most expensive item we can... Oh, okay, wow. This
10 ETFs.
Oh, here we go. Oh, but this is...
Yeah, 0. See, that, but those haven't sold.
This one has, though.
This one has...
$5,000.
Well, that's its list. What was its previous sale?
Oh, shit. Is this offer? This is offers. Okay. Somebody's trying to buy it for $50.
Yeah, lots of people are trying to buy it for somewhere in the realm of $50.
Okay. So this $50,000 thing is just...
yeah, its last sale was 0.05 WETH.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Dave, for helping us investigate the NFT world.
Anytime. No, not anytime. Sparingly, ideally.
Just today. Today. Okay. Moving over to the trends, and obviously there's another Dragon Age story here. Dragon Age Boss. I mean, these people, when they're writing... I mean, what the hell's wrong with these people? Just write, like, you know, studio... head of studio.
Boss could be a lot of different things.
Yes. Dragon Age Boss says a Legendary Edition style remaster of the old games in the series is unlikely because there's maybe 20 people left at BioWare who know how their engine works.
Yeah, I could see that being... I mean, Origin, all those games where you're switching between characters in combat, there's a lot going... I could definitely see that there would be technical challenges to modernize that. Also, you have to just remake it, and then at the point you're like, what, you know... It's not always worth it to remake a game. By the way,
I'm not sure if this is good to actually tell people that there's like only 20 people left from the original BioWare.
Yeah, seriously. I think everyone kind of understands that at this point.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. I feel like if... what's that company called? The one that is the best in the world at porting, and then Sony bought them recently.
Blue? Something Blue?
Something Blue. Yeah, I was going to say...
let's see. They made Shadow of the Colossus...
And they did the Demon Souls as well.
Yeah, so let's see. They are remake developer. Blue Point.
Yeah. One of my favorite companies. Obviously now owned by Sony.
They do. Such a cool thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, like, who's the Blue of today?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll move over to the next item, my friend, which is... where's the title? Skyrim lead on the death of video game expansions. After 6 months, the audience has moved on. I would say wrong, but I'll let you comment, Dave.
I mean, I feel like whenever you're making grand statements like that, they can either be right or wrong. It's easy to argue whether they're right or wrong. I mean, I remember this with Skyrim originally, actually. I remember distinctly I played the shit out of it. And then the expansion pack came out, but I had already stopped caring by that point. It was really hard to, once again, summon up the energy. Obviously, it worked. It really worked for Elden Ring. But Elden Ring, I think, did a good job making it pretty well self-contained thing.
I know you have to play it through Elden Ring. I mean, it's self-contained.
Yeah. Well, yeah, not like fully, but as in it's not. It is its own adventure within it. Bloodborne was they do a lot.
You have to own the original game though.
Yeah, no, you definitely need to own the original game. Yeah. It's not a true standalone.
No.
But yeah, it's just. I think such sweeping statements sometimes going to work, sometimes it's not going to work. You just have to understand your player.
Not today, buddy. We busted you. And I will add that, I mean, obviously Skyrim has a huge community to this day. Modding community who are constantly adding content. There's constant new mods coming out. One of my colleagues at Arrowhead back in the day came from the Skyrim community. He was a modder. And now he works at Arrowhead doing Helldivers.
Very cool.
So,
very cool.
I mean, there you go. And obviously, I think another last comment on this. If there's any successful studio or company at doing expansions, it's actually Bethesda, right?
Yeah, they've got a good history with that. But then again, they don't make games very often. So the last game that received a ton of expansions that did well was Fallout 4. Starfield has struggled, and things are different from when Fallout 4 released. I was living in Nashville, which I don't recommend.
Okay. Would love to visit one day. Maybe not.
Nice to visit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll move over to the next item. This company we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now, right?
All right. Okay.
You tell me what's going on. So Netflix is removing nearly all of its interactive titles. This reference, because I'm assuming Bendersnatch, however you spell that name, that is part of the, what's that series called again? The one where...
Black Mirror.
Black Mirror, thank you. I'm actually a bit confused about what's happening here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's too bad. My guess is they're just not worth the server space, or not worth not claiming them down as losses. Because that's definitely the trend in streaming, is to remove stuff so you can claim it as a tax loss. I guess people just weren't playing. It's too bad. I like them. My kids like them. We played the Boss Baby one, the Barbie one, the Minecraft one, and they're totally fine. Yeah. I'm not going to say they're like the greatest thing in the world. Bandersnatch was definitely cool, and it will remain. And the other ones were just like totally straight ahead, perfectly fine. Choose your own adventures. I know why they didn't. They were never going to blow up, but good for what they were.
It did feel like an addition or like a bonus for some of the titles.
Yeah.
But maybe it's one of those things where, okay, the interest for this type of thing is not there, so let's just move on with our lives.
Let's just take our tax write-off, yeah.
I do want to say, like, to your point, you're talking about kids playing like Wild with Bear Grylls, and You versus Wild. That's something my kids were playing or watching a couple days ago. So it's interesting. And we did actually play entirety of the Minecraft story mode thing on Netflix.
And there was like 3 chapters to that, right? That was not short, as far as I remember.
No, it wasn't short. I think it was like maybe 5 chapters.
Wow. Yeah.
But it was like, a big chunk of content.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Cool. By the way, do you think that Netflix is this a separate strategic decision, or is this part of their gaming portfolio, or do you think there's any connection there, or is this completely separate?
I don't think it's completely. I don't. As far as I gather, it's not under their gaming division, but I think there is a strategic alignment on this notion that they have.
Okay. If you know me well, then you know I love to root for the underdog. Unfortunately, AMD, or back in the day they were called Radeon graphic cards, they're not as popular anymore, or they're not as good anymore. At one point there was this moment where Radeon cards were better than Nvidia's.
Yeah.
But anyways, looking at the story here, AMD's RX 6600 is the most popular quote-unquote red team GPU among Steam gamers. But no Radeon card makes the top 30 list. Holy shit.
That's a lot of 30 is not a small number of cards. Oh boy, that's
No,
just the word
that's
NVIDIA over and over again. And then Intel.
Intel. That's are probably these Intel graphic cards? Are these probably like laptop based mostly?
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame that there is like somebody's cornering the market.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a problem with an advanced society, right? Is that graphics cards are incredibly complex to make, and it's not shocking that one firm got better than others at making them, especially when you get the snowballing effect of them having a bunch of money and then putting that back into research.
The infinite money glitch.
Now, infinite money glitch. Sell people GPUs and then use those GPUs to mine fake money. I mean, it's a difficult problem for any advanced society, and this applies to all manner of things that, like, at a certain point, NVIDIA cards are probably going to become sort of a really important part of our digital infrastructure. People use them in AI. People use them in all kinds of things. And
not dangerous at all.
What does it mean that Jensen Huang controls all of this? Like, what do we do with that?
This is like, okay, this is dangerous. I would love to bring somebody like an expert in that area to kind of like enlighten me on what's happening.
Yeah, well, I'd be very because I think you see similar things happening with the telephone in like the 1950s and 60s. Nixon breaking up the bells and things like that. I don't know if there are any similar stories out here in Europe, but I wouldn't be shocked. But yeah, it's private enterprise is good at starting up these new technologies, and then sometimes they wind up incredibly powerful.
Has it ever happened in U.S. history? I know no politics today, but we'll go back to it's economics. It's not politics.
Yeah.
Has there been any big companies that have been broken up? I know there's talks about breaking up Google potentially, or I don't know, Amazon or some other companies. But has there been any like major companies, historically speaking, who have been forced to break up or like split?
I mean, the Bell Telephone Company basically controlled all telephones in the United States, and they were broken up into various regions and then gradually reformed into Verizon and AT&T.
Okay.
So that's usually sort of the canonical the canonical story about that. Did Standard Oil get broken up?
This is interesting. So, I mean, I guess the reason for this, the monopoly was so strong and big that it's like they were forced to interfere more or less.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was one, Nixon, some problems with old Nixon, but he did have sort of an antitrust positioning that ultimately I think we were glad happened. Yeah, and Standard Oil broke up in 1911. That was another big thing. That's sort of this era at the beginning of the 20th century. Teddy Roosevelt doing the trust busting and all that.
So, speaking of 20th, or I guess post 20th century.
21st. Also 22nd, which we'll get to when we come to.
Okay. Do you foresee any, or do you see that there is a need for any?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's definitely a need. I'd love to see some trust busting. There's right now, one of the Biden administration is looking into this algorithm that a lot of rental companies use to determine rental prices on houses. And guess what? There's only one algorithm that basically everyone uses that looks and that the effects are indistinguishable from price fixing. And obviously the rental market is out of control basically everywhere. Yeah.
So I mean, does this mean like there's one company or something that owns that?
The algorithm, and so it basically allows all these rental companies to do price fixing without doing price fixing. Right? There's another company doing the price fixing for them.
Holy shit. Here we go. I mean, this is obviously not video games, but it does affect us long term in terms of like if it's technology or whatever it is. So, one company's algorithm could be why rent is going up in the U.S. But okay, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
If you have any other examples of tech companies, I would love to cover that at one point.
I mean, there was the big lawsuit brought against Microsoft in the 90s.
Microsoft feels like a company you should break up.
Yeah.
A conversation for another day. But really interesting. Thank you, Dave, for enlightening us. So I'll move over to the next item, which is Valorant is winning the war against PC gaming cheaters.
Cool.
Congratulations.
Good job, guys. Yeah.
I'm assuming this is a proprietary anti-cheat system they've created.
Yeah.
But is there anything else we'd like to comment here on this?
Yeah, there's this there's some chatter surrounding Denuvo, or there's some kind of anti-cheat,
Yes.
not Denuvo, something recently where they discovered, or no, it was anti-piracy. I've totally lost my train of thought. But yeah, I mean, cheating's a huge problem. Cheating sucks too. Like, if you're gonna make a multiplayer game, like, don't just if you're gonna play a multiplayer game, like, just play it. If you want to cheat, do something else. But obviously, people do it a lot, and it's a huge problem, and it has caused major problems for games in the past. So I think that we're always happy when there can be some efforts to get things under control. Who knows? Maybe Riot will start licensing this thing out at some point.
What's interesting, yeah, I mean, for the greater good, obviously.
Yeah.
What's interesting in this specific story, it seems like, obviously, cheaters, historically speaking, they use software to bypass the games. In this specific case, it seems like parts of their cheater base is using like a PCI card that is separate, that is doing some manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like their anti-cheat here, in this case, is also blocking that to a certain extent.
Very cool.
Okay, cool. I will move over to the rumors. Okay, number one on the list, Fortnite leak hints at Super Mario crossover. That cannot be true. Come on. That cannot be true.
No one's giving Mario a gun.
Well, Mario had a gun in what's that crossover with the rabbits, right?
Yeah, but it's a very silly gun, you know. Yeah, so they have firearms in that. So I guess that is a step in that direction. Yeah. That's true. But look,
but this is not a real gun, though. It's not. It's like in
Fortnite they can be holding an M4, and that would surprise me. But especially because I don't think Nintendo needs it. Right now they're fine.
I do feel like it would be a mistake, but I don't know. I mean, what's not on Fortnite?
I don't. If it was a mistake, I don't think it would be a very costly mistake. At the end of the day, it would be just some weird thing that people talk about briefly and then don't. So they'd make money off of it, and no one would. I don't ultimately think people would care that much. So whatever. Maybe they'll do it.
I hope somebody has a list of every single character that is cross IP that is coming to Fortnite. I mean, just looking at some of the oh my god, don't get me started.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, entirety of Disney almost, but I'm reading like off this list. There's like Street Fighter stuff. There's League of Legends stuff. There's Gears of War. There's Assassin's Creed. I mean, the list goes on. Maybe we should cover this one day. Like, just look at this snowball that is just out of control. Engulfing everything. Cool. Okay, I'll move over to the next rumor. Now this one is actually, we should have probably read the list, but Nintendo Switch 2 leaks reveal new design and big news on specs. Let's dig deeper on this.
we already baselessly speculated on this earlier, so why not see what people are actually saying?
Yes, let's see if we have anything right.
Battery life, that'd be cool. I mean, that.
Yeah. Obviously, yes, sticking with NVIDIA, better battery life,
that's
OLED.
popping up again.
We talked about that one. Bigger screen, potentially. Here we go. The Joy-Cons controls appear to be getting some tweaks, including the redesigned SR and SL buttons and a different LED placement. Second USB port on the top of the console. That's interesting.
Yeah, and that said it was bolstering claims they might have a second screen, which just give me the one screen.
AMD wanted a 15-watt handheld mode to offer next-gen performance on the go. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, seems like more or less almost what we said before.
That's because we're so except for the second screen thing. That's a left turn. Who knows? I can't.
Like we're past that era. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. The DS is cool, but like I actually don't think the second screen. I think that was more incidental to the DS's success than a key component.
I played on the DS like one summer semester, and I played like Chrono Trigger because I never played the original.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to remind us because we're old, and the second screen on the DS. I know there's a lot of cool games that utilize that in some shape or form. From your point of view, what games have, if any, utilized the second screen to the max or provided real value with the second screen?
I don't think I'm not going to answer because I don't think I have a good answer to give you. I didn't play enough DS to say anything interesting on that subject.
How about this? Let's help each other then. Mm-hmm. Top DS games of all time. And I'm using DuckDuckGo here. Let's see if I get a good result. The 25 best DS games of all time. Okay. This is IGN. And of course, they put the last one at the top. I don't know why they do that, because they want me to scroll and make my life hard. Dota means one of those things. I have to click every single page to get to each single game. Number one. Yeah. Here we go. God damn it, IGN. When will you learn? Okay, number 25. Sorry. It's not working. I don't know what's happening here. I should probably go to another website. Okay, screw you, IGN. We're unsubscribing. Best DS games of all time. Here we go. Maybe Metacritic can help us. Okay, number 1, GTA. And that's actually Chinatown Wars, right? That's an exclusive.
I didn't play that. People loved it, though.
Flipnote Studio. Speaking of Chrono Trigger, that's there.
There you go.
Mario Kart DS. Mario and Luigi, something, maybe that's an RPG. There's a Zelda game. Is that the one, the Tide or something?
Yeah, Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, thank you. We have a Castlevania game.
At least there's some motor on that thing, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, Dawn of Sorrows, Super Mario Brothers game. Okay. I'm surprised there's no Metroid. Is there no Metroid on the DS?
What's that? I don't know. I don't remember.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Some Kirby games. Okay, so another Zelda game. Okay. Maybe we'll do some better research next time.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible on the DS. Okay, moving over to the numbers then. The 2024 League of Legends Worlds hit a new record of 6.9 million peak viewers.
Damn, yeah. Trucking along, man.
So more esports for you.
Yeah.
Do you have any insight into esports these days?
Not a huge amount, but it's interesting that the League of Legends is still dominating there, which is not like shocking to me. That something was going to make that work. For a long time, it was StarCraft, and now it's League of Legends. Because like the thing about I think about any sport, or otherwise, is you don't want to spend a huge amount of time talking about the sport, right? You want to talk about the players, you want to talk about the narratives, you want to talk about the competition, and so it makes sense that certain games would come to dominate because then people just understand what League of Legends is about, and then they can focus on the actual competition, as opposed to be like cycling through top games and having to understand new things over and over again. Yeah, there's no football too.
I just wanted to bring up the top Twitch viewed games, and obviously League of Legends is like number one right now. But it seems like Twitch, generally speaking, when it comes to esports and viewership, if it's Counter-Strike, Valorant, League of Legends, these types of games, Dota, they are usually in the top 10, top 20, most viewed.
And I think there's a couple things going on there. One is they're super popular; people like them. Also, these have just always been like spectator-facing games. They have super high skill ceilings, and they're cool for people to watch. Really, really talented people, and the isometric view can make it easier to follow.
Cool. I will move over to the next item on the numbers. Phasmophobia has sold 20 million copies. Huh.
Good. Yeah.
My immediate question is, please remind us what is Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I definitely remember that, hearing that around, but I don't remember. It's an online game, according to Google.
Is it a VR game?
Paranormal horror game by British indie game studio Connect Games. It's VR.
I think it's a VR.
Oh no, with VR support. Excuse me.
With VR support,
but not like a VR. Yeah, 4-player online co-op psychological horror.
Okay.
Yeah, people like their horror. Horror seems to be actually a kind of a reliable place to go these days.
Really? You would
Yeah.
call it reliable?
Yeah, you look at some of the charts of especially like low budget or lower budget games on Steam, so not the big AAAs, but everything else. Horror does really really well.
It's
Uh,
like the what's that movie called? The one that broke through back in the day, 1990. No, this is 2001 ish. Blair Witch Project.
yeah, so yeah, when
Are
people,
we in the Blair Witch era of video games?
yeah, let's say that I like that, and I think for one thing, people like their horror. The people that like horror want to do it. And also, these games, Phasmophobia seems to be a 4-player online game, but many of them are like consumable. They're not live service games. They're intended to be experiences, and they might not even be all that long, which is going to mean that the people who like these things are going to buy more of them.
Okay. Okay. I'll thank you. By the way, I'll move over to the final item on the numbers, and this is I have some friends invested in this. Kingdom Come Deliverance sold another 2 million copies this year, bringing it its total to 8 million units. Really cool to see. Have you had a chance to look at this game?
Yeah, I've never played it. I mean, obviously, I know about it. It's always seemed interesting to me, but I have not played it. And I think it's definitely like there's no other game quite like it, for what I understand. So it makes sense that it would continue to sell.
Yeah, it does feel like they are bringing a unique experience.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm having a lot of trouble with YouTube these days.
Yeah, I just saw a Knife Expert come up there.
Yeah, I mean, Knife Expert. Look at this. I've been getting this a lot these days. I don't know
Interesting.
and if I refresh the page, it actually works-ish. Let's see if it does. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, can you remind me again? I'm gonna blame everything on age. What type of game is this game, Kingdom Come?
So the concept was they're going to make like a realistic RPG. So you are not the most powerful warrior in the world. You are not the Dragonborn or the Chosen One of any kind. Like you have to like start up as a little dude and try and get stronger in the world. So like your first opponents are like you get it, and again I haven't played it. This is what I understand. You get into like a fist fight with some guy and you still lose because you don't know how to fist fight, things like that. So the idea is that they want to take some of the standard structural elements of what we consider to be a medieval RPG and put a realistic spin on how those things might actually work.
Interesting. This is enticing to me now. I would love to play it one day. We'll put it on the list because we just recently got what's that game called? Metaform Fantasio.
Yeah, Fantasio.
Yes, I can't even say the name.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, this brings us to the end of today's news, Dave.
All right. Okay. Well, it's been some lovely and interesting news.
Really good stuff.
Yeah,
we're getting better at this, me and you.
Yeah, we are. We'll have Mario back next week. We'll have the whole team, I believe.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Dave, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for hosting me. It's been wonderful.
Amazing stuff. For those who are listening in, obviously, like, subscribe, do all these things that normally people would ask you to do. It's really annoying when people ask you to do this stuff. I agree. And I hate it. And I hate saying it, actually.
This is why I have Casey do it. Which
thank you.
I think I've made that joke like
thank you for the support, Dave.
So far, yeah.
So if you can do that, I would really appreciate that. I mean, obviously, we're just starting out. That would help us greatly. And then, again, if you want to read the news of what's happening in the industry in under 1 minute, half a minute even, maybe 20 seconds, maybe less, mightydiamonds.substack.com, you'll find our newsletter, Game Industry Executive Summary. Just subscribe. We would really appreciate that. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take it easy.